joins us now. Josh, the previous holder of this seat is now embroiled in a political scandal, and you've managed to raise nearly $10 million in a race that a few months ago everyone would have predicted to be a blowout. What's it been like for your campaign to receive all this attention?
I mean, it's been fantastic. It's a true testament to the work that we've been doing on the ground here for 4 months. Since this election was announced around Thanksgiving week, we have been out here on the ground across all 6 counties, meeting with voters, meeting with organizations and clubs. We've been VFWs and American Legions, Chambers of Commerce's, just meeting with people absolutely everywhere and building this from the ground up. This is a testament to the work that we've put in. If you invest in a district, you get returns.
Now, Senator Bernie Sanders endorsed your campaign on Friday. DNC Chair Ken Martin is stumping for you this weekend. What is it about your campaign that's uniting the party from the progressives to the establishment? You're not one that could be positioned as far left, but right down the middle, you see all sides rallying around you. How do you explain that?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. I'm a public school teacher, 13 years and pretty much Title I schools. We don't pick and choose which kids we serve. We serve every child, every family, every day. And, that's what I brought to this race. And it's a shame that that's a novelty these days. Every representative should be here to serve and represent every last person in their district. That's the race that we're running. That's my pledge to the people here in District 6. And, the response to it from the people on the ground, the voters and the residents, as well as, the members of the party that we've met along the way who've come on board. Again, it's feels fantastic, but it's a testament to the work that we're doing for the people here.
Now, as we mentioned, you're running in a district that is heavily Republican. What do you want voters to know about you and why you are running?
So, I mean, again, I came from education. So I came into this because of the threat to the Department of Education. The impact that eliminating the federal Department of Education would have on schools here in Florida would be devastating. We have some of the lowest per student funding in the country. And so the federal funding makes up a much larger percentage of our budget here. To lose that money, which is what will happen if it's given to the state, because our governor is Ron DeSantis and he will take every last dollar he can out of our public schools, would result in school closures, school consolidations, increases in class sizes. That's not a partisan issue. It was something that I felt needed to get out to every person in this district to understand the implications. And since we've gotten here, I found that, there's much more urgent matters for a lot of the residents. More than 25% of our district is age 65 and above. They are deeply concerned about what's going on in Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, the cuts that they've seen, the changes to the program. Our veterans here felt the impact of those cuts in the VA immediately. Within 48 hours, they were having their doctor's appointments, scheduled procedures and operations pushed back 4 to 6 months. There is an immediate threat to people living here in this district, and they want someone in Washington fighting for them.
Now, before I let you go, we've been hearing a lot about noisy town halls and a real sense Americans are frustrated with the chaos of Trump's second term so far. What are you sensing from voters on the ground right now, and what kind of message do you think Floridians are going to send on this Tuesday?
Yeah, we've had over half a dozen town halls across this district. We've, again, met with thousands of voters, answering their questions. We stay there answering questions until they're ready to turn the lights out on us. People want representation. They want someone working for them. That's what this job is. My opponent keeps saying over and over, he's here to serve Donald Trump. And I'm here to serve the people. And they see the difference, and it resonates with them. We have Republicans and independents coming out to these town halls, showing their support because they want someone fighting for them in Congress.
And I sense you've had these values as a teacher and throughout your journey. So it's very interesting to hear you talk.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, part of my journey is when I was 17 years old, I picked up a copy of Go and Tell Pharaoh. And, as a young man, reading about your early life and your activism was incredibly inspiring, sir.
Wow. Go and Tell Pharaoh I wrote 28 years ago, my first.
New comments today from Congresswoman Elise Stefanik after President Trump pulled her nomination for UN ambassador. Now, Stefanik will return to the House and says she's being a team player.
The political realities are what they are, and it's very important that we have every single vote in the House. So I'm proud to be stepping up as a team to support the American people to get this done and to continue to support President Trump. And I believe that we will deliver results as we always have. So I am honored to be a leader once again in the Republican Party to deliver and put the American people first.
Joining me now, Democratic Congresswoman from Florida, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a member of the House Appropriations Committee. Congresswoman, good to see you again. This is becoming a very pleasant habit. But Stefanik said that they need every Republican seat in the House. Are you surprised the GOP is that concerned? Because she seemed to have been on a glide path, if you will, to confirmation.
Alex, this is a clear admission by Donald Trump himself when he tweeted the other day that he was pulling her nomination because he was worried that they would lose her seat. Let's be clear. Stefanik won her seat by 21 points. A seat like that should be guaranteed to have whoever the Republican nominee is to win a special election. But we're seeing Democrats win special elections all over the country, 13 out of 14 since November when Trump was elected, because Trump is destroying the Republican brand. He has built an agenda that is focused on slashing health care for millions of vulnerable people, on firing veterans and withholding services for veterans. There are two special elections that happen on Tuesday in Florida in seats that are even more red. That should not be on the radar for Democrats, but are because what Republicans are doing under Donald Trump is devastating to our economy and to people's kitchen table economies.
Can you tell me what you're hearing about those two special elections, what the expectations are? They're in very red districts. We should say that.
Oh, when I say red, Trump won the CD1 district in Pensacola by 37 points,
right,
and the CD6 by 30 points. So we've got between these two districts 300,000 people on Medicaid, 2/3 of them are children, and Republicans are getting ready to slash Medicaid by hundreds of millions because they want to make room for tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires. They're cutting the VA. In the Panhandle district, there are tens of thousands of veterans. That's a military and veterans focused district. They're not responding too kindly to having their services taken away and cuts to the military occur. The list goes on. Social Security and Medicare. We have the largest percentage of seniors of any state in the country. And if you're talking about an administration that Elon Musk is leading for Trump to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, then no wonder all of these races are in jeopardy. Elise Stefanik is staying in the House because they were worried about losing a seat that she won by 21 points. That tells you all you need to know about the Republican brand right now under Trump and Musk.
That one being in New York, we should say. So look, consumers are bracing for this week's tariffs to take effect. And there's new CBS polling that shows voters are very worried it's all going to increase prices. So how are voters in your district reacting? What are you hearing?
Look, the prediction by economists is that the average increase in prices from the Trump tariff tax will be about $1,200 for every American. The increase in cost for a car will be about $3,000. And Trump actually said, when asked what he thinks about increasing the costs of cars, that he doesn't care.
Going up here talking about math, but this is a math problem for them. The entire domestic discretionary budget is $900 billion. That is a lot less than $1.6 trillion. So they could cut every program out there. They still wouldn't have the cuts they need. That is why they have to go after these mandatory spending programs, as we call them, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. They've already announced massive cuts to Medicaid. Now they're looking at Social Security because even that's not enough. And we have to remember that this is all about tax cuts for the very wealthiest out there.
I mean, you mentioned that less than 1% of Social Security payments in recent years were identified as fraud, and that's according to a Washington Post report. So you make the point. They could cut all of these programs and they still wouldn't have it unless they went after Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So why is it that your Republican colleagues are continuing to lie to the American people? Speaker Johnson goes on TV week after week and says, Democrats are lying to you. We are not trying to cut Social Security. We are not touching Medicaid. But we can see for ourselves, if we just listen to what they are saying and watch what they are doing, that's the only conclusion to draw.
Look, if you're talking about my colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle, I think a lot of them right now are running scared of Donald Trump. And that's the reality. They're scared of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. There apparently have been a lot of threats levied against Republicans. If you step out of line, we're going to primary you, and Elon Musk is going to spend tens of millions of dollars against you. They're worried about their own personal safety because of the online mobs and in-person mobs that will come to their houses if they go out of line with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So it's a courage problem. It's also part of this administration. From top to bottom, they're characterized by their lawlessness and the fact that they lie about everything, whether it's the press secretary, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's everyone on down. And I think House Republicans just have to buy into that lie. And that's the unfortunate reality we're dealing with right now. We can clearly see they're going after Social Security, and yet they're lying about their agenda. And again, it helps us to remember this is not about efficiency. It's about finding a lot of spending cuts right now so they can pass their tax cuts.
For the billionaires, Michael, for the billionaires. Oh, my goodness.
We need billions more.